recording.
Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to this joint webinar hosted by Brightpearl and B2B Gateway on improving your supply chain efficiencies to reduce costs. All participants are on mute. However, if you do have any questions, feel free to use the message box and we'll be able to answer these at the end of the webinar. My name is Joe. I'm one of the partner account executives here at Brightpearl. And no doubt she'll introduce herself properly a little bit later, but by way of a short introduction, it's my pleasure to introduce Louisa Gooding as my co-presenter. Louisa joined B2B Gateway in 2006 and is Director of Sales and Strategic Partnerships at B2B Gateway. She has years of experience working with cloud-based business management software, and we're delighted to be working with her in B2B Gateway today. So I'm going to touch very briefly on what Brightpearl is, which is going to add a little bit of context to the webinar. And then I'm going to hand over to Louisa for the remainder. So very, very briefly, Brightpearl is a solution that automates many of your manual processes that don't make you money. And it frees up your time and facilitates the growth activities that do make you money. If I could draw your attention to the orange donut in our diagram, this essentially represents Brightpearl as a central hub for your business. And as you can see, Brightpearl is one location for your inventory, purchases, suppliers, orders, analytics, accountancy, customers, and wholesale. This in turn then communicates with marketplaces such as eBay or Amazon, point of sale options if you have a physical store, logistics, carriers, marketing modules, and of course your e-commerce platform if you have an online shop. So in terms of an agenda for today, Louisa is going to cover eliminating the need to rekey data and reducing errors. She's going to show you how to increase efficiencies and reduce costs, and how to become EDI compliant with trading partner requirements. And then after that, we will have a Q&A session, so please feel free to use the questions box below. So without further ado, let me hand over to Louisa.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for your time today. I'm really excited about being a partner with Brightpearl. As Joe mentioned, we have worked with multiple different cloud-based ERP systems in the past, and we recently partnered with Brightpearl in order to pick up the little bit that Brightpearl is missing. What I'm going to do, and I apologize, Joe, can you give me controls? So that
No problem. Bear with me 1 second.
Thank you very much. What I'm going to do is just give you a little overview of EDI. EDI simply stands for Electronic Data Interchange. It's the exchange of standard business documents. And the concept was about 30 years ago to come up with a standard way that all documents should appear. This is called the ANSI X12 standard. And what they did is they decided that a purchase order, if everyone used the same format for their purchase orders, that you could easily exchange them between systems. Unfortunately, that did not really happen. What happened was one company would use one standard, and then the other company would slightly tweak theirs, and therefore you were unable to bring that purchase order directly into your system. And that's really where B2B Gateway jumps in. We give you the ability to exchange standard business documents with your partners in order to completely automate and simplify your business model. You will be using Brightpearl to communicate with your 3PL, your third-party logistics company, as well as your online shopping carts, but we'll help you out when it comes to trading partners outside of those that you automatically get when you subscribe to Brightpearl. And I apologize, Joe, can you just give me those permissions and I'll be able to move it forward?
Yeah, you should have them, Louisa. We've changed presenter over to yourself. Have you hit show my screen?
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I thought you were going to simply share. I was going to just take the controls from you.
No, if you use the slides we sent over, then we can.
That's okay. We can show our screen. And just...
Yeah, we can show our screen alternatively, Louisa, if that helps.
Yeah, my apologies, and I apologize for the participants. A little miscommunication. I think between the time zones, we didn't coordinate quite as well as we normally do.
Yeah, no problem. Bear with me 1 second, and we'll get this kicked off.
Great. So basically, as I started to say, the first screen you're going to see is that what the EDI was done to exchange those standard business documents. And the most common documents that we work with are purchase orders and invoices. So you receive a purchase order from the retailer. We can make it so it goes directly into your back-end Brightpearl, and then once you do your normal business process, you pick, pack, and ship, we can pull that invoice out of your Brightpearl and send it back to the retailer. It all sounds very simple, and it seems like something that you might be able to do on your own. Unfortunately, what happens is every single trading partner has different business requirements. As I mentioned, this was started about 30 years ago, and every year those business standard documents change. They also have, every company will have, and I'm sorry, I'm not able to advance the slides here. So it does become more complex. Every company has a different standard that they're under. So in the U.S., we have the ANSI X12 standards, as I mentioned. Every year they come up with different versions. They are up to version 5030 now, and some companies are on newer versions, whereas other companies are on older versions. Each company can also have different communication methods. As you can see here, these are 4 common what we call trading partners, businesses that you would like to exchange documents with. Walmart is going to be using an AS2, which is a secure encrypted file format. Lowe's uses a VAN, which is a value-added network. Avery Dennison uses FTP, which is a simple file drop. And Michaels uses a secure FTP. So every company is using a different communication method. Every company has different protocols, different file formats that they're on. And basically what we do is we come in and totally automate this process by being able to communicate with every trading partner using the communication method that they dictate, meeting the business requirements for the file formats that they're currently using, and then we format all that information into the file format that your Brightpearl can accept. And if you could just advance the slide. Thank you. So as you can see from this slide, B2B Gateway comes in the middle and does all the data translations and completely simplifies how these documents go back and forth between you and your trading partners, thereby eliminating the additional cost of rekeying and totally automating the way it goes into your Brightpearl using the Brightpearl API. There's no need to worry about how this information is going to be received, as B2B Gateway takes that step. If you could just advance the slide. Thank you. And now how do you, so B2B Gateway will make it easy. How do you know if you are a candidate to use EDI? Here in the States, you're going to be told you might be told by your trading partner that they will only communicate with you using EDI. As I said, EDI stands for Electronic Data Interchange, and here in the States it's become synonymous with the ANSI X12 standards. But we are a global company, and if you just advance the slides, you'll see we're a global company, and there are a lot of other terms that would indicate that you're going to need to do EDI. There are multiple different global standards. There's EDIFACT, Tradecom, ODET, and if you could just advance the slide, you'll be able to, just back one. Thank you. If you hear any of these terms, that's an indication that you're going to need to find an EDI partner so that you can automatically send and receive documents with that partner. You'll also, if your partner tells you that they want to communicate using a value-added network, AS2, that's an indication that you're going to need to be EDI capable. Another time you might need an EDI is if you aren't taking advantage of Brightpearl to communicate with your third-party logistics company, we can help you there. if there is an e-commerce platform that Brightpearl doesn't support, and you want that process automated, we can help you there. That's one of the beauties of Brightpearl, is that they do have a lot of automation built into their own system, so that you don't need to outsource to a company like ours. But if there is a gap there, we can absolutely jump in. We can also give you the ability to integrate with a legacy system. Should you have a system that you would like to bring, that you want to save for whatever reason, and you want to be able to send and receive documents between Brightpearl and that back-end system, we can do that as well. So if you going on to the next slide, this is really the jumping off point for why companies outsource to a company like ours, and why you'll want to use EDI. The most common reason for using EDI is that you're trading with a brick-and-mortar store who mandates that that is the way you communicate with them. That being said, companies now are seeing the ROI on doing EDI because there will be traceability and accountability. You can not just communicate with that brick-and-mortar store, but you can also communicate with your online presence if it's not one that you can do through Brightpearl automatically. You can integrate with online shopping retailers like Amazon. A lot of the brick-and-mortar stores now have online presence, and they go through a company called COMMERCEHUB. We can connect to them on your behalf, bringing those orders directly into your system. Third-party logistics companies is probably one of our fastest growing verticals. We can also integrate with your back-end factory, so if you want to automate those documents. Not only do we bring the document into Brightpearl, but we can take one document and place it in multiple locations at the same time. So if you receive that order from that online retailer, we can send it over to your third-party logistics company at the same time as we put it into your Brightpearl as a sales order. Or we can also take that order, send it over to your third-party logistics, put it into your Brightpearl, and automatically place another order with the factory. So we can help automate the entire process and the data flow, eliminating that rekeying, and also taking away the time that it takes to do all of this. And that's really one of the strongest reasons that people are moving to EDI. It's not just that it's a business requirement, it streamlines your business. It eliminates cost, and it gives you complete traceability and accountability. So you don't have to worry about somebody calling over and saying to the factory that you want to order 10 units when actually you want to order 100. These can be very costly to your business if you make these mistakes. As wonderful as humans are, we are prone to mistakes. EDI eliminates those and completely automates the process. So if you could just advance to the next slide. So I mentioned that third-party logistics companies are one of our fastest growing vertical. We can work with the standard ANSI X12 documents that a lot of third-party logistics companies require. We can also work with something as simple as a CSV, XML. We're finding that this is a fast-growing vertical because third-party logistics companies are realizing that if there can be human error, and the cost to rekey and have that customer service rep trying to get that information, a fax gets lost. There's so many reasons why you would not want to communicate any other way. If you can, so they are now charging an additional fee if you do not communicate with them electronically. There's, in addition to the documents that you'll see here, the warehouse purchase order where you're asking them to pick, pack, and ship something. They confirm that they picked, pack, and shipped it. They can send it back to the location that they're shipping it to. That you can also do inventory counts if they do cycle counts and you want to update that actual inventory on hand. There's a lot of different documents that you can trade. Within the ANSI X12 standard, there's over 318 different business documents that can be traded to help automate your entire process. So if you could just advance that. Online retailers is another fast-growing partner of ours, not just the Amazons, which Brightpearl can do as well. We do integrate, as I mentioned, with those companies that are the brick-and-mortar online presence. That's becoming a real fast up-and-coming vertical for us because not only do we bring that sales order, as I mentioned, into your Brightpearl, we can also send it over to your drop shipper at the exact same time. Again, streamlining that process, increasing your time to ship, therefore increasing your time to bill. So you're making money faster. It also gives you this, it streamlines that inventory information. Most of these online retailers want to know what inventory you have on hand so that they don't sell product that doesn't exist. So there's a tremendous advantage to using EDI for that as well. And again, that's a very fast-growing vertical for us because a lot of the brick and mortars are seeing the advantages of moving online. I did touch on CommerceHub a little bit. CommerceHub is a third-party company. We work with them regularly. We have thousands of relationships with them. They've positioned themselves in the marketplace to be the company that brings the orders down from the online shopping carts. So when the consumer places their order on Walmart.com, CommerceHub brings that order down to a site that we then go and get it from. CommerceHub does not integrate with any back-end systems. So if you're getting a lot of orders, to have somebody spending their day rekeying can take hours. And it's not, you'll see that their time would be better spent doing something else. So EDI will help you reallocate your resources to something that's more profitable for the company. And all of this is going to be done for pennies on the order. If you could just advance the slide. Thank you. This is a unique, GS1 128 labels are a unique label that came out a few years ago. What this label is, it's not, some people think of it as a shipping label, but it's actually a label that ties into the original purchase order. And basically the information contained in this barcode will let you know, will let the people on the loading dock know that this is for purchase order number 123. In this box is ABC. This is box 1 of 10. This is how it shipped, when it shipped, and all that information is tied into that unique barcode. And at the bottom of that unique barcode is a 20-digit carton identifier. And that's really important because that 20-digit unique carton identifier is going to then appear on another document called the Advanced Shipping Notification. And the Advanced Shipping Notification, or ASN, or 856, they're all synonymous, goes to the brick and mortar store ahead of the shipment of the product so that the guys on the loading dock will know that there are X number of boxes coming in, and they can scan it in against that advanced shipping notice and then know that the product that has been ordered is now in-house. It had helped automate the process on the brick and mortar side. It is becoming an extremely popular document. It is not, it's obviously not EDI because it's not a document that's being transmitted electronically, but the information required to populate this document comes over on that purchase order which was received electronically, and the information created on the label needs to go back on an EDI document. So this is something that we support as well. We map those labels to your company's label specification and printer specification unless the trading partner dictates otherwise. So typically, we can work with any type of printer. Most commonly, people have a Zebra printer, but whatever your label and printer, your labels and printer types are, we can map to that and give you the ability to meet that requirement, because this will be a business requirement. If the company wants you to if the company requires them, they don't give you any options. So, and it's becoming more and more popular because it gives them traceability and accountability on those the purchase orders that they've placed. If you can just advance it one more. Thank you. Now, I've talked a little bit about why you would like to, why EDI is going to help you streamline your business. And I just wanted to give you a little bit of information about how we'll work. What we'll be doing is we're automatically pushing documents into your Brightpearl lifetime and then pulling documents out of Brightpearl as you create them based on your business model. What we do, since this is all going to be happening behind the scenes, and you're really just going to be working within your Brightpearl, what we'll also do is send you a transaction report. You'll receive a report 4 times a day, letting you know what documents have been transmitted on your behalf during the course of the day. In addition to receiving those 4 email notifications, you're also going to have a client portal, which is a communication method between B2B Gateway and yourselves. In this portal, there's a reporting tool, and one of the things you'll be able to see is historically, for the life of our relationship, every document we've processed on your behalf. So you can look, if you want to see if you sent a purchase order, received a purchase order today, you can look it up here. If you'd like to historically, you can go back and say, did we ever receive invoice number 123? You can go back for the life of the relationship and find it. You can search by year, by date. You can also export this report, this information, if you require it as a CSV, if you'd like to run reports off of it. So this is really just a confirmation of what has happened during the course of the day and during the course of our relationship together. We can always find the documents as needed. We do keep all documents we process, so if something happened, we can track down those documents for you. Functional acknowledgments are important. That's a handshake between us and what we call your trading partners. It lets us know that they've received a document. It's not saying that they accept the document they've received. It's just letting us know that they have received it. And that is something that we don't charge you for. It's something that we maintain, because if we don't receive it, we'll investigate why there was not a functional acknowledgment sent. Excuse me, if you just advance it. The other reporting tool that we offer is an exception report. Ideally, you'll never have to deal with these, but from time to time, there is an issue with a document that's been processed. The most common issue that we see is that a customer will order a product that does not exist. This is going to be documented 2 different ways. You'll be receiving an email notification saying that we could not process a document, and it will describe why we couldn't process it. Depending what the issue is will depend on how it's going to be resolved. If it's an issue, as I mentioned before, the most common is a product is ordered that doesn't exist. If that happens, that's a business issue that you would have to address. It could be that you came up with a new product and you hadn't had the opportunity to add it to your Brightpearl, so you'll simply go into your Brightpearl system, add that new product and price, and then reprocess the document within our system. If they ordered it and that you don't offer that item anymore and that it has been eliminated, you can call them back, have them put the order under a new item. So depending on what caused the issue will determine how you're going to resolve the issue. You will, as I said, get an email notification that goes to an email distribution list that you determine. But this is just another reporting tool that you'll be able to see that in our client portal that there have been issues. You can go back and look at what they were. Once they've been resolved, then we delete them from the report. So we have a great deal of accountability and traceability when it comes to our relationship with you. We want to be able to let you know anything that's going on. And we try to do it in multiple different ways because everyone's communication method is different. Some people like reports, some people like emails, but we try to have multiple different ways of communicating. And as I said, ideally you'll never see the exception reports. That's as the word said, it's the exception, not the rule. A little bit about the way B2B Gateway will be working with you. During the setup process, you'll be assigned a project manager who will work with you anytime you add a new relationship. They'll coordinate an entire team that's going to be working on your behalf. Most importantly on their team is going to be what we call the trading partner liaison. They're the person that will be reaching out to the companies that you'd like to exchange documents with, getting their requirements, their communication method, the documents that they've agreed to trade with you, the file formats for those documents. And then behind the scenes will be a programmer. The way we'll be building our maps is we build an inbound, outbound map between B2B Gateway and your Brightpearl instance, and then an inbound, outbound map between B2B Gateway and each one of your trading partners. How you work with each trading partner will be unique to your relationship with them. So that's when we start together. Once you've been what we call put into production, once all parties have agreed that the maps are correct and the documents are flowing correctly, we then will give you the option of contacting our rapid response team should you have any questions or concerns. You can contact our rapid response team either through your client portal You can call in, and it goes to a phone distribution, or you can send an email. Regardless of how you communicate with us, we have a ticketing system. So whatever your question or concern is, we're going to list it in a ticket. And in your client portal, you'll be able to see how that progresses. It could be a simple question. One of the most common requests we receive is somebody originally wants to receive orders from their the brick-and-mortar stores, and they like to receive it by store location. But down the road, they decide we really want to use the store number instead. We maintain cross-referencing matrix of every major retailer globally, so we know what a store number equivalent is to a store location. So we just have to make a simple mapping change to accommodate for that. So you'll see that request has gone in. You'll see that we've changed the way it's set up on your cross-referencing table. You'll see that the programmer has tested it, and now it's in production, and your request will be closed. So it's a great communication method. In addition to the rapid response team, we also have a 24/7 emergency voicemail distribution. If there is a true business emergency at any time, we have a staff on call, and it is their responsibility. There will be 2 people on call at all times. If it is a true business emergency, somebody will return your call and resolve the issue. Most common business emergencies that we see are somebody had an issue with their advanced shipping notification. That's a business requirement. As I mentioned earlier, your product, the advanced shipping notification must get to the trading partner prior to your product being delivered. And if there was some issue with sending that document, something changed, maybe you created the UCC 128 labels and realized that wasn't the product you're going to be shipping, you need to make changes. That is a true business emergency, and there will be somebody on call to support that. We do not charge an additional fee for that service. Our business model has been and always will be to be in business with you long term. So we want our business to continue to grow and thrive. Therefore, any business issues that we can help you resolve that are EDI related, we try to do that because that's going to help you grow and run your business better. We also cover all mapping changes are covered at no additional charge. If you could just advance the slide one. Our pricing structure is very straightforward. It is on our website, and I believe it's also on the Brightpearl website. We have one-off startup costs to build that map. That organizational fee is a one-off to build all required maps between us and your Brightpearl instance. It does not increase as additional documents are required. And then there's a one-time setup fee per trading partner, which is, again, it's a pay it, park it, you're done. We have an ongoing monthly fee, which does not increase as you add additional trading partners. That monthly fee includes unlimited access to that dedicated project manager during the setup time. It also includes access to the rapid response team and the emergency voicemail distribution. As I mentioned, our business model really is to stay in business with you long term. So we charge pennies a line item in order to do the data translation. So every time a document goes through our servers, gets broken down into components and reformatted into the file format of its next destination, there's a small charge for that service. But we find that people see the ROI is there because you're not having somebody rekeying that information, and now you have traceability and accountability for the information that's been moved. So, and as I said, our pricing structure is on our website. We find that people are very happy with this because typically the more product you're selling, you don't mind paying those few pennies an order. So I believe that really kind of goes over the overview of why you should do EDI. B2B Gateway has been doing this since 1999. We are a global company with customers on every continent. We are GS1 accredited, which is GS1 is the governing body for EDI. We process over $30 billion worth of transactions per month for our clients. We have thousands of client trading partner relationships around the globe. We literally add new relationships on a daily basis. We have over 10,000 trading partners that we have worked with at some point. It should be clear that a trading partner, although we have worked with them sometimes, we cannot facilitate the relationship with them, but once you have a relationship with them, we've had a great deal of experience, so they will be more than happy to work with us. And we are typically on most trading partners' recommended provider list because we have been doing this for so long. And we have, as I mentioned, most of our customers do not leave us because of our business model is really to be your business partner. The only time we really lose partners is when they go out of business or change their business model dramatically. And this is just a sampling of some of them. But I hope the disjunctiveness and the delay in the slides has not caused anyone to get confused. I'd be happy to answer any questions about EDI. We are a Brightpearl partner, but the Brightpearl questions I'd like to redirect back to Joe.
Yeah, sorry about the confusion with the slides there, guys. Any questions, please use the chat box or the question box on your GoToWebinar screen.
So probably the most common question that I get is how long does this take? Because it sounds so easy and wonderful. It does take a few weeks. Even if it's a trading partner that we've worked with on a regular basis, we are still going to go through an extensive testing process because your relationship with that trading partner may be slightly different than the relationship of somebody else. And my favorite example to use for this is Ingram Micro. We have customers that buy from them, we have customers that sell to them, and we have customers that outsource their third-party logistics to them. So the documents that will be required are extremely different. We also, when we test with a trading partner, we like to test your actual items as well as your invoices. Your invoices might be slightly different, and we just don't want to make any mistakes. So we do go through an extensive testing process. Your involvement will primarily be approval. So when we bring that purchase order into your Brightpearl as a sales order, you look at it, you approve it, then we convert it into an invoice, we pull it out, we send it back to the trading partner, they approve it. So that's probably our most common question is how long. The other question I hear a lot is how much involvement is there on the behalf of the customer. As just mentioned, most of what we're going to require from you is going to be an approval process. Once we bring it in, does this look right to you? Is there any, and we also will ask you, are there additional documents you would like to trade based on the ability and capabilities of your trading partner? Sometimes there are documents that they may not have required of you, but you want to trade with them. As I mentioned earlier, one of the documents that a lot of the brick and mortars will trade is that inventory document, or the 846. That may not be a requirement, but it might be something that you want to trade with them because you want to make sure that what they see in stock is what you actually have in stock. So we try to meet all of your requirements as well as all of your trading partner requirements. And going back to that client portal, that's where we're going to show you all visibility to your setup process. We do not determine in advance who you're going to be trading with. You'll add your trading partner relationships in your client portal. And there are 10 to 15 business questions we'll ask you in that when you add that trading partner relationship. Then we'll reach out to them and get their requirements. You'll immediately see all the documents that they've required. And then you'll be able to see in there exactly what the process is, how far along we are in the testing process, who we are waiting for. You'll get an email notification if we're waiting for an approval from you or information from you. You will also see in your client portal in big red letters, alert, waiting on a response from you, so that we try to, again, have as many ways as possible of communicating with you and give complete traceability and accountability to everyone so that you know where we are in the process.
Thanks for that, Louise. So I've just got a couple of questions here from the floor. Right. So I've got a question from Timothy. Are the EDI transaction fees an additional charge on top of the monthly fee?
Yes, they are. So there will be the monthly fee that covers that unlimited access to your project manager during the setup period, as well as the unlimited access to our rapid response team. And in that, the one thing, and I don't believe I touched on that, it also covers any mapping changes. as I mentioned in the very beginning, in theory, EDI was supposed to be a standard that everyone would agree to. Unfortunately, every year those standards change. So if you're trading with Walmart, we always use as an example, they are always on the most recent version of the NCX 12 standard. They're currently on version 5010 and will probably be moving to version 5030 shortly. So that's going to require mapping changes. You do not have to pay every time there's a mapping change. We automatically make those mapping changes for you. The same would be if they added additional documents. We don't charge you again for additional documents. We just go ahead and add those. So that being said, you can imagine that our cost, that 80 sterling barely covers our cost. We make money by charging those pennies a transaction, and truly that is because you keep growing, we'll keep growing, and it's a real partnership.
Thanks, Louisa. We've got another question.
I hope that answered your question. Go ahead.
We've got another question from Bryce here. Is this approval process, the approval process you mentioned, is it ongoing or is it only during the setup of the partner? So in other words, will every order require approval?
No, it's only during the setup process. And what we'll do is when we test with the partner and with you on each document, we'll go through a process. And when we feel that it's at the point that everyone has agreed to the document file formats being correct, then we put the document into production. So it doesn't flow live until all parties agree that everything is going correctly. And once the documents are set up, then you move into production, and then you'll just automatically be able to receive documents and send documents. And then in that instance, then you'll start seeing the transaction reports as to what documents have been sent and received.
And just in addition to that question, again from Bryce, Louisa, he's asking how much hands-on time is going to be required for an employee to manage the EDI process on a kind of per order basis.
It's very limited during the setup process. It's more of an approval process. So assuming that everything goes in correctly, that you say, yes, that purchase order looks great. They convert that purchase order, which is a sales order in Brightpearl, into an invoice. We pull it out. We send it back. The more documents that are required, the more testing will be required, but typically it does not take up a lot of time. You will not have to have a dedicated person. Whoever is your Brightpearl administrator will be looking at the documents.
Fantastic. Thanks for answering that, Louisa. Have we got any kind of further questions from the floor? Feel free to type them in the box below. Looks like that's
and I'm sure, Joe, after we finish this, after this call, I'm sure people will have questions, and you can anyone can contact me directly. My email address is lgooding@b2bgateway.net, or you can simply email sales@b2bgateway.net, or contact Brightpearl and they can redirect you to us if there are EDI-specific questions.
Fantastic. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. Any questions, don't hesitate to contact either of us on the below contact details. That draws the webinar to a close. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.